Alright, kids, time to do my UFC on Fox Henderson versus Diaz predictions. Strong for the main event. Benson Henderson defending the UFC lightweight championship against Nate Diaz. A lot of people like Nate Diaz in this fight. Obviously, he's looked very impressive in his last two outings where he almost made Jim Miller bite off his own tongue with that submission of the year nominee earlier in the year. And of course, he had that fight of the year contender against Donald Cerrone last December. Obviously, he's a great technical fighter. He's got good submissions. Obviously, he's one of the best boxers in the lightweight division. He's probably a far better striker than Benson Henderson by far. However, with all that taken into consideration, I still think the defending champion Henderson will walk away the winner this Saturday night, simply because I think he's probably a better all-around strategic fighter. And when I say strategic, I mean Diaz, he fights like his brother. He's going in there, he's got striking. If he can get you on the ground, which is very unlikely considering his opponent, he's just going to try to, pound you out, maybe lock into submission. Henderson, his takedown defense is outstanding. His submission defense is really great. He's a guy that's pretty well, defending this track. He's gone toe-to-toe with some really, impressive boxers over the years and hold his own. I mean, come on, the dude beat Frankie Edgar twice, and that's probably a far more dangerous opponent than Nate Diaz has faced, probably ever. So in the day, I think Henderson wins this fight. He's going to control the tempo. He's going to out-wrestle Diaz. He's going to neutralize his striking, just make him really frustrated. And in fact, I kind of see this fight playing out a lot like the Carlos Condit-Nick Diaz fight from early in the year, where you had Diaz just swinging for the fences and Condit just saying, no, that's okay, I actually plan on winning this fight, and playing things very conservatively. I see Henderson winning this fight. Let's make things interesting. Split decision. Make things, we need some controversy for the year's over. All right, Mauricio Shogun Hua against Alexander Gustafsson. Gustafsson is being picked by a lot of people. Clearly, he has the reach advantage. He's been on a roll as of late, but I still think Shogun is the better overall fighter. He's a better striker. I think he's got better submissions. You don't really get to see this too often, but I think Hua is the better wrestler of the two. Gustafsson, he's got some advantages here and there, but I think overall, Hua, even in his later years, he's probably a better overall striker. And I think he's going to win this fight late with a third round TKO. That brings us to the third fight on the show, or the second show up on the main card, which is probably the most interesting fight of the night. And it's a fight that I'm thinking about clearing up my entire schedule just to watch. We got BJ Penn making his return after retiring last year against Rory MacDonald. And folks, I saw Rory MacDonald fight Che Mills in Atlanta earlier this year at UFC 145. And watching him fight was like watching a welterweight John Jones just go in there. He didn't just beat the dude, he destroyed him. He made it look like he was playing an entirely different sport. He was an entirely different kind of athlete, and it was incredibly impressive. In fact, I kind of go back to that one fight that MacDonald had, what was it, about a year ago, where he just manhandled Nate Diaz. He German suplexed him 3 or 4 times in the course of one round. I think Rory MacDonald is going to be a future welterweight champion in the UFC. And BJ Penn, we all know how he fights. There's that old saying that BJ Penn is the absolute best pound-for-pound fighter in the world for 5 minutes, because after that he's gassed time after time, and he hasn't looked really all that impressive in his last couple of fights. But I think Penn, he's still a really great technical fighter, great submissions, really underrated striking. Wrestling, okay, pretty lame. Takedown defense is great. Rory MacDonald, though, he's going to go in there and he's just going to go in there and, I don't know, he's going to do a very technical fight, I think. BJ Penn, I think, will probably end up winning the first round. But second and third round, this MacDonald starts chipping away. In the third round, he's just going to batter and bruise him way, way worse than he's probably been manhandled as of late. And you saw BJ Penn in that St. Pierre fight from 2009. You saw Penn in that fight against John Fitch from last year. Penn, he's been roughed up, but he's never been technically finished in a fight. I think Rory MacDonald's going to come very, very, very close to making the referee stop the bout. But at the end of the day, I still think that MacDonald will just win this one by unanimous decision. He'll win rounds 2 and 3, and really put a hurting on Penn and sort of solidify his status as a contender for the welterweight strap. And our curtain jerker for the Fox show, we got Mike Swick taking on Matt Brown in a pretty irrelevant welterweight fight. Matt Brown, saw him at UFC 145 too, where he beat up Stephen Thompson in one of the best fights nobody has seen this year. Taking on Mike Swick, they really go either way, both these guys. Decent striking, okay submissions, but I don't know, I think Matt Brown. Why Matt Brown? I don't know, he's just on a roll. Alright, and for the rest of the show, let's do a quick rundown. We got V's Edwards taking on Jeremy Stevens. Let's go Jeremy Stevens. Rafael Asuncio taking on Mike Easton. Mike Easton wins this in unanimous decision because we all know Easton wins by boring fights. Ramsey in the gym taking on Joe Proctor. I have no idea who either of these guys are, so Proctor. Darren Cruikshank taking on Henry Martinez. Where do these people come from? I Cruikshank because he has a cooler name. We got Tim Means taking on Abel Trujillo. Tim Means. And oh my God, talk about a fall from grace. Look at this. Open up the preliminary card on FX. Dennis Seaver against Nam Fan. Two guys that were featherweight contenders like 2 years ago. Woo. Dennis Seaver, unanimous decision. And the Facebook fights. Sorry, I'm a Google Plus guy. Scott Jorgensen taking on John Albert. Jorgensen, you got to do something. Second round, submission. So there you go. There are my UFC on Fox picks, and I don't know. I might even be right this time.